gentlemen, once again, I would like to thank you for, on behalf of the Black Sea University Network, for accepting our invitation to join another event in the same frame of the COVID-19 pandemic. This conference, the second in series after the successful one in 2018, continues our excellent collaboration with PubSec and BSec. It was initially planned, as you know, to take place in Antalya, Turkey, and we would all prefer to solve the situation related to COVID-19 led us to the decision to hold it online. I'm sure that it shall be a successful meeting because we have some outstanding speakers and participants, but also because the topic is of utmost importance today more than ever. In general, social cohesion represents a consolidation of the majority of the citizens of a nation state or a union of states like the EU, who believe they share a moral community and can trust each other. The perceived advantage of social cohesion is that it may lead to reduced inequality and socioeconomic disparities and fractures in the society. Many studies published in the EU member countries are underlining some of the following aspects. The perceived social exclusion is relatively low in the northern countries and higher in the southeastern member states. The Mediterranean member states have struggled to recover from the economic crisis and have not yet returned to their pre-crisis levels of social cohesion. Perceived social tensions, both economic and ethnocultural, are high. Ethnocultural tensions are more prevalent even in the richer Western member states that have recently experienced increased levels of immigration. Greece, of course, is at the forefront of this struggle, and Turkey. Economic tensions tend to be higher in the post-communist societies. Tensions between rich and poor peaked in 2011, while tensions between managers and workers have declined over time. Interpersonal trust varies considerably across the EU. While it is high in the Nordic countries, Luxembourg and the Netherlands, Southeastern Europe remains a region of low trust in people. As for participation in society, the rates of political activity and civic engagement in some northern and western member states are 4 times higher than some of those in Southeastern Europe. However, participation rates are disturbingly low in the EU overall, remaining largely unchanged over time, and that's a surprise. Sense of community is generally high. Attachment to the local area is somewhat higher in the eastern member states, whereas the frequency of contact with friends and neighbors is slightly higher in the southern countries. The socioeconomically disadvantaged segments of society are the key risk groups for social exclusion. For last, low participation in society and perceived economic tensions. In addition to this, age is seen to play a role in building a sense of community. You may have experienced that younger citizens report the lowest levels of attachment to others in their geographical area, but they are coupled with the highest level of communication with their social contacts. So the concept of geographic neighborhood is being replaced by digital neighborhood. Age is furthermore a critical factor for participation in society, as the elderly are comparatively less engaged in civic and political participation. even though they tend to vote more often than the younger population. Ethnocultural tensions are mostly perceived by the chronically ill, rural dwellers, the employed, and the highly educated. Migration from both inside and outside the EU increases our cultural diversity, while inequalities, particularly where the benefits of globalization are not being equally shared, increase economic disparity. It is telling that in February 2019, Le Monde reported that in a survey of 1,400 Gilets jaunes, it was found that 74% lived in economic precarity. So those in economic precarity tend to complain, demonstrate, be less, they feel that they are less embraced by the community. At EU level, recent data show that around 113 million Europeans, over 20% of the population, are at risk of poverty or social exclusion, and 15% experience material deprivation. In 2017, 40% of Europeans surveyed felt that member states were distant in terms of shared values. In such a context, EU proposed a new indicator for material and social deprivation that is based on 10 items, of which the following four are particularly relevant to social inclusion and cultural participation. So number one is the inability for a person to spend a small amount of money each week on himself or herself. The inability to have regular leisure activities, the inability to get together with friends or family at least once a month, and finally, very important, the inability to have an internet connection. The European social model and the European values are enshrined in the Lisbon Treaty. The open method of coordination, a product of the Lisbon Treaty through the mechanism of non-legal cooperation, is itself intrinsically an instrument designed to tackle the challenges posed by social exclusion. And the EU sees social inclusion as a process which ensures that those at risk of poverty and social exclusion gain the opportunities and resources necessary to participate fully in economic, social, and cultural life, and to enjoy a standard of living and well-being that is considered normal in the society in which they live. Social inclusion also ensures that vulnerable groups and persons have greater participation in decision-making, which affects their lives and access to their fundamental rights. From the perspective of the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, an initiative, a global initiative in which the Black Sea University Network is heavily involved. There are also several aspects related to social cohesion. For example, the agenda is setting the goal by 2030 to empower and promote the social, economic, and political inclusion for all, irrespective of age, disability, race, ethnicity, origin, religion, or economic or other status. And even more, to ensure equal opportunity and to reduce inequalities of outcome, including by eliminating discriminatory laws, policies, and practices, and promoting appropriate legislation, policies, and action in this regard. In conclusion, social inclusion can be interpreted as being about removing barriers such as discrimination, ensuring everyone's possibility to enjoy their human rights. This is a more individual approach than the one of social cohesion. social cohesion takes a more societal and relational view. Of course, certain aspects of social inclusion are present in practically all of the Agenda 2030 goals. If we take a look at our region, especially in the current context of the COVID-19 pandemic, we may say that the situation is extremely concerning. I mean, we can feel it ourselves. We want to meet in person, to be able to travel again, to be able to receive students in universities and researchers in conferences and meetings in person. We, as representatives of the academic community, are inviting all parties of the society of the countries in the region to start presenting our concerns, the results of our research activities, the ideas and proposals that we have. We have, as BSUN, organized several meetings to that effect, and we hope that by partnering with PAPSEC and BSEC, our voice shall be louder and we shall attract the attention of the decision makers and other authorities to begin building on cohesion, on what is uniting us in this region for the benefit of our students and of future generations. So with these opening remarks that in a sense set the stage for the conference, I would like once more to thank you all for participating, but a special thank you goes to the people who worked to put this conference together. You know who you are. And as president of the Black Sea University Network, I have to thank the Secretariat of BSUN, because I know that they have worked hard to put this conference together. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Very nice and inspiring summary of all the aspects that are of relevance on social cohesion. And as you all know, when we started this initiative in 2017, we started together with the Parliamentary Assembly of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation. And from one side, as Professor Mitkas was saying, we have the academic community, the researchers that are developing on a daily basis or in different projects. They are developing different research activities. And on the other side, we have the members of the parliaments of the region, the people that are in the, let's say, legislative and top decision bodies in this region, to promote cohesion, to promote peace, and to promote a closer collaboration among different communities. And in this respect, thanking once again Professor Mitkas for his opening speech, I would like now to invite His Excellency Mr. Asaf Hajiev, the Secretary General of Parliamentary Assembly of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation. Mr. Hajiev is also an academician. He's coming from the university, the State University of Baku, but also at the same time, he is a member of the Academy of Azerbaijan and a well-known scientist in the field of mathematics and informatics. And from that perspective, he has the chance to make the bridge between the two worlds. Mr. Hajiev, you have the floor.
Me, first of all, do you hear me? Hello?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, let me welcome to all of you on behalf of PAPSEC, Parliamentary Assembly of Black Sea Economic Cooperation. And I'd like to underline that the subject of our meeting very interesting and very important. And I will start my presentation. It is called Cooperation in the Black Sea region. Well, so few words about Parliamentary Assembly of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation, because it was created as a result of the major political change of the late of 80s, when the nations of the Black Sea region re-emerged on the world scene with the aim of joining their efforts in order to turn the Black Sea region into an area of peace, stability, and prosperity. Taking advantage of common characteristics such as geographic proximity and shared cultural and historical heritage, the countries of the Black Sea region have expedited the establishment of bilateral and multilateral relations. On 26th of February 1993 in Istanbul, the speakers of the parliament of 9 countries adopted the declaration of the establishment of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation. In June 95, the Hellenic Republic joined the assembly, and in June 97, the Republic of Bulgaria became the 11th full-fledged member. In November 2004, Serbia and Montenegro joined the assembly. After Montenegro declared its independence, the Republic of Serbia became the legal successor of the former state in the PAPSEC, thus representative of 12 full-fledged members. And today, Parliamentary Assembly of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation is composed of 77 parliamentarians representing the 12 PAPSEC member states. The principal aims of the PAPSEC you can see on the screen. I will not read all of them. Being an interparliamentary consultative legislative body of the BSEC, the Assembly has united the effort of the national parliaments to pursue the following aims, as stated in the preamble of the PAPSEC rules procedure. An institution of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation includes BSEC, Black Sea Economic Cooperation, PAPSEC, Black Sea Trade Development Bank, Black Sea Economic Cooperation Business Council, ICBSS, Black Sea Universities Network, and BSEC URTA. This is Black Sea family. The Black Sea region is very important for the world and plays an important role in world politics. Why? Because this is a widened Black Sea region which includes several seas: Mediterranean Sea, Black Sea, Caspian, Aegean Sea, and other. Black Sea, it is a crossroad of the main transportation arteria, for instance, Silkway from east to west. Another important, it is a Viking road from north to south. At the same time, Black Sea region is very rich in energy resources. And so in 2003, it was established Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline, where oil from Caspian Sea is delivered to the coast of Mediterranean Sea. Another important project was implemented as a Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway project, and which reduced the time of delivering goods from China to Europe from 1 month to 2 weeks. And I would like to mention that 1 week ago, the train with goods departed from China and is coming to Europe, and the road will take only 2 weeks. And what was this? Okay, and also I would like to mention about two very important gas pipelines. This is Turkish Stream, gas from Russia will be delivered to European market, and TANAP, this is Trans-Anatolian Pipeline, where gas from Caspian Sea will be delivered to Turkey. And as a continuation of this pipeline, this is TAP, Trans-Adriatic Pipeline, where gas will be delivered to Greece, Italy, Albania, and other European countries. Once again, it confirms the importance of the Black Sea region, but the main value of the Black Sea region, it is not energy, it is not transportation arteries, but the main value is the people who lives here. These people with different nations, with different religions, different culture, and different traditions. And this is our value, and we are very proud by it. And you can see on the map, I mentioned about pipelines, about transportation arteries, right? And I mentioned that the main value of a region are people, right?
Dear
Yeah, please.
Asaf, dear Asaf, you have to share your screen because we cannot see your presentation. We
You
can see
can't
only
see.
you. You have to.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
strange.
you have to share the content. Yes.
But now, do you see now? Hello.
No.
Not yet. We don't see.
Yeah, but I asked you, but in the beginning you told me that yes, everything is okay.
At the beginning it was
We
okay,
could-
but later on we lost you. So there is a sign, is the third
There's a
button.
button.
Just a moment, just a moment. Ali gel bana. Just a moment, please. I'm very sorry. I don't know what's happened here. Just a moment. I invited technician. He'll help me. Just 1 minute.
But you may continue this the presentation, and then we'll have the slides also.
Okay, he's coming. Okay. So, gel Ali. Niye gözükmüyor? Görmüyorlar. Just a moment he came. Mr. Ali. Share değil. Yanlış şey yapıyorum. What's about now?
Now
Now
it's
it's fine.
It's perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
Burada geçebilir miyim? Yok yok. Ama yok. Olmadı ki. Ha, tamam. Okay. I mean, I said that our main value is the people, and it is very important for people is education, because one of important issue for development of the country is education. And I would like to remind the famous words of the President of United States, Abraham Lincoln, who said, education is the most important subject which we as a people can be engaged in. But ancient Greeks said that education, it is not a vessel which it is necessary to fill. It is a torch which is necessary to ignite. And so we have to do our best for organizing people high-level education. But modern education has a specific. It is necessary to pay special attention to development of IT in modern education, because IT is an important indicator of GDP. Let's have a look to two countries, United States and China. They give 40% of the world GDP. United States has GDP around 20 trillion US dollars. And for IT, they spend every year more than $200 billion. China has GDP around 12 trillion. And for IT, they spend every year also more than 200 billion US dollars. Let's have a look to history. In 20th century, in the years 70, 80, the richest division in the world was oil sector. Now, oil sector is estimated around 3.5 billion US dollar. Later on, banking sector became, today it's estimated than 4 billion dollars. I'm sorry, it's not billion, it should be trillion here. I'm very sorry. And today, the richest sector in the world, it is IT. It's estimated around $5.5 trillion. Have a look at the richest people of the world. They earned their money also from IT. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, and others. And so IT plays a very important role today. But IT education also is related with science. The world expenses for science in the world every year is estimated $1.5 trillion. Israel spent for science 4.25% of own GDP. Afterwards, it's coming South Korea, 4.23. Switzerland, Japan, Sweden, all of them have high level of the life standard. Even the level of democracy depends on the level of science and education, because ideas of democracy and democracy are strongly connected with the level of science and education. Because society with high level of democracy have high level of science and education, and of course vice versa. According to the World Bank information, the level of the development countries depend on three factors. It's a human factor, industrial factor, and natural resources factor. Most development part of the world today is North America. It's United States and Canada. Human factor there is 76%, industrial factors 19%, and natural resources only 5%. In Europe, these digits are human factor 74%, industrial factor 24%, and natural resources only 2%. Have a look to the countries Singapore, Denmark, Finland, Japan. They have no rich natural resources, but have high level of the standard of life standard.
Your Excellency, Mr. Hajib, maybe you can move a little bit closer to conclusions, because we have very little time and we have many other speakers.
I'm coming to it. Don't worry. Can you give me 2-3 minutes?
As many as you want, because you are the chairman of this.
So tell me how many minutes you can give me.
Thank you.
2 minutes, okay?
2 minutes is perfect.
I would like to mention that the Black region last year faced with another serious threat. It is refugees problem. The world economy has already lost more than 500 billion US dollar, and this problem should be solved immediately. If we have a look to the world, in the world, among 110 people, there is one refugee. But in Black Sea region, among 60 people is one refugee. If we'll come to other country like Azerbaijan, out of 10, there is one refugee. Only Turkey last year got 4 million refugees. And so it's necessary to solve this problem. The problem should be solved in the frame of international law. And the main principle of the end of 20th century and 21st century is territorial integrity of the countries, which must be taken into consideration. Okay, so I would like to come to the end. So we're worrying about situation in Mediterranean Sea, last events which are happening in our region. All misunderstandings should be solved by discussion and in the frame of international law. Conflicts, confrontation, destroying our economy and peace in our region. but the dialogue and cooperation among parliamentarians, which are very essence of the parliamentary diplomacy, make a positive contribution to easing interstate tension and finding feasible solution to complex problems, namely those in the field of human rights of parliamentary democracy. And in this regard, I think the Black Sea should not divide us, but unite us all. Thank you very much, and I am sorry for occupying your important time. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Your Excellency. It was very instructive, and the information that you give are extremely important. But unfortunately, we have just a little time, and we have some very distinguished speakers that have a very tight agenda and some time constraints. So from that perspective,
Would it be possible to have this presentation distributed to the participants?
You mean my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, of course. I will send to Mr. Eden Mahmoud and he will distribute. Okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It will be very useful.
Thank you for interest to my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So now it is a privilege to introduce Mrs. Roberta Alma Anastase, the head of the delegation of Romanian Parliament to the Parliamentary Assembly of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation. Together with Mrs. Anastase, we started actually this activity in 2017. I would like once again to express our gratitude for all her support. Mrs. Anastase, you have the floor.
You have to turn off the video of Mr. Zaev.
Just 1 second.
Да, я смотрю, что конференция.
So it should be done by Mr. Hagiev. So Asaf Malim.
Yes?
So you have to stop video from your side. I mean, to stop sharing the screen.
But I did it.
Okay, now it's perfect. Now it's perfect. Thank you very much.
Hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Please.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Professor Mahmoud. First of all, I would like to thank you for your kind invitation. And I was thinking at what Mr. Hagiev just has said about Black Sea and the idea that Black Sea should unite us. And indeed, I remember that 2 years ago, together, the Romanian parliamentary delegation to the PAPSEC, together with Black Sea University Network and the University of Bucharest and Center of Excellence for the Study of Cross-Border Minorities, organized a debate with a very interesting the subject, the current state and perspective in the field of policies aimed at promoting social cohesion in the Black Sea area. I hope that today's event will have the opportunity to continue the discussion that we started 2 years ago. First of all, I would like to say that and remember that a very famous sociologist, Regina Berger-Smith, characterized social cohesion as one of the fundamental objectives of the European Union, a fact actually assumed by the European Commission documents. With the accession of Romania and Bulgaria to the EU in 2008, the Black Sea became a direct neighbor of the European Union, focusing on ensuring a stable political and social climate, as well as creating the premises for a prosperous economic space in the region. Romania has assumed the role of promoting the strategic and economic importance of the Black Sea within the EU's political agenda, a strategic role that drifts from both from the political dynamics of the states in the area and also from the uniqueness that this space has in connecting Europe with Asia and the Middle East. The political dialogue and the action undertaken by Romania since 2007 determined the European Union to launch a specific set of policies regarding the extended Black Sea region, such as the Black Sea Synergy. Furthermore, the objectives promoted by Romania within the Black Sea Synergy are currently included in two of the most important policies adopted by the European Union, and I refer to the global strategy for the US foreign and security policy and the NATO summit conclusion, which took place in Warsaw in 2016. Acknowledging the opportunities offered by the cohesion policy, Romania's major objectives for the Black Sea region have intensified during the Romanian presidency of the EU Council. During his 6-month mandate, Romania continued to strengthen his effort in order to draw attention on the strategic importance of consolidate a stable, democratic, and prosperous area in Eastern Europe, a target that can be accomplished only by connecting the Black Sea region to the values and procedure of European and Euro-Atlantic cooperation and concrete projects with benefits for all the citizens in the region. In this regard, the Romanian presidency of the EU Council has successfully developed, with the full support of the European Union, a series of actions to strengthen the economic, social, and regional connection. I can give an example. The process of reshaping the Black Sea Synergy by establishing new bases for cooperation in strategic areas that in the years to come will determine, we hope at least, the sustainable economical development of the region and the better quality of life for its citizens. At the same time, the adoption of the two framework documents, the strategic agenda for research and innovation in the Black Sea region and the common maritime agenda for the Black Sea will facilitate new investment in the region. Distinguished guest, keeping the strategic importance of the Black Sea region on the Europeans' agenda and creating the premises for a new communication from the European Commission on the topic, as well as promoting cohesion in the region, are key priorities that Romania has included also in the set of measures in its capacity of presidencies in exercise of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation Organization. In a completely exceptional and stressful period, the attention of all states, regardless of geographical location, is dedicated towards finding better solution for diminishing the spread of the new coronavirus infection and attenuation of economic shocks caused by the pandemic. Romania, in this context, has assumed the extension of his term, hoping to contribute in keeping the balance in these such difficult moments. Taking into consideration the increase your EU political and financial engagement in the regional cooperation in the Black Sea, with a direct positive impact on our economies and societies, Romania intends to further develop a flexible, result-oriented, and closer BSEC-EU cooperation. A genuine regional cooperation with the EU through a project-oriented partnership, BSEC-EU at the regional level, is a key factor in securing our interest to boost regional growth and economic sustainability. Positive developments in this regard need to be backed up by building a stronger interaction between BSEC and the European institution. This will offer us a solid and diverse basis to better address the large array of challenges and to support the development of stable, democratic, and prosperous societies around the Black Sea region. I assure that Romania will continue to supervise the achievement of these objectives even after the end of this mandate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Anastase. Excellent statements and very nice, let's say, vision for future developments. And we hope that also we shall continue this collaboration between the universities and the Romanian delegation to PAPSEC. Once again, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Now it is also a great honor to introduce Professor Marian Preda. First of all, Professor Marian Preda is the rector of the flagship university of Romania, the University of Bucharest. At the same time, he is a member of the ESUN Executive Board representing the Romanian universities. But before all, Professor Preda is an expert in sociology. He's a scientist developing a lot of research activities in different aspects related to sociology. So, Professor Preda, you have the microphone, let's say.
President Mircas, Rector Mircas, for including me on behalf of the University of Bucharest in this prestigious panel. So, distinguished participants, dear colleagues, the challenge of Black Sea area is the dispute between its two images, resulting in two alternatives. Is BSA perceived as an area of conflict, tensions, and problems, or as an area of opportunities? Trends in the Black Sea area, strategic, military, economic, energy-related, political, ideological, cultural, religious, civilizational, demographic, social, environmental, give a renewed and increased relevance for the area. These trends, not just incidents and scattered events, induce a long-term development and justify a spatial, analytical, and monitoring focus on the area. So, these days, Black Sea area is a hot topic and a hot spot. Yet, at the same time, one of the most interesting but neglected development during not only the last couple of years, but during the last decades, is related to the fact that a significant number of countries in our region have tried repeatedly to create and maintain alive a regional identity and a regional vision of economic cooperation and integration around what they have called the Black Sea region. Even if, up to now, the success has been elusive, the direction and implications of such a trend are unambiguous and extremely important. That stakes, are huge because the very idea of the Black Sea region is riddled by tension. On the one hand, there is the image of an area full of privileges, challenges, and problems. On the other hand, there is a huge collaborative potential and a huge economic and social potential in the area, assuming its stability and good governance. That gives us a huge opportunity and challenge for all of us in the academic domain acting in both our scholarly and policy advisors' roles. How could we shape the public discourse, the public vision, and the actions of public decision makers in the direction of a collaborative and constructive scenarios? How could we create a positive global image of the region as a region of opportunity, convergence, not as a region of conflict and cleavage? How do we construct a collective identity and how do we give a positive connotation to that identity? The key priority is this. To be able to construct a positive image for the region, we need, first of all, to advance a global image of a common identity for the region. And this could be done only by us, the scholarly and intellectual community. If we do not do, nobody else can do it. We have thus in front of us a huge task to create an identity and a vision for the region and to promote it for the public and decision makers, not only in the region, but at a global level. These developments raise a series of interesting questions regarding A, the problem of the identity of the region and the ways that identity is constructed and altered as a result of cultural, political, and intellectual evolution, both within the region and outside. And B, the problem of the institutional arrangements and the policies that may foster or impede the processes of redefinition, regionalization, and economic integration. We need to start with an assessment of the Black Sea area from the perspective of its regionalization potential, followed by an assessment of the main institutional and cultural instruments to be used in the construction of the economic dimension of the process of regionalization. The starting point will be the question is, in what sense a regional identity could be created around the Black Sea as a focal point? In what sense the Black Sea area is or could become in reality and in the eyes of the global community a standard region? What is the relationship between the already established nations defining the ways people and governments think about this part of the world and the emerging notion of a Black Sea region? Then we need to be focused on the problem of the institutional structures and policies to be used as instruments of economic integration and of social construction of a regional identity in that part of the world. So, dear colleagues, once we take seriously the challenge, we realize that we have in front of us a historical task. The academic and intellectual community for our area has to provide the vision, ideology, theory, and empirical data and intellectual and cultural resources, projecting BSA as an entity to the global level, both as an image and as a reality. It is a task that requires collaboration between us and hard work, but it is worth it to create out of diversity and cleavages an identity of opportunity, stability, and cooperation, using intellectual resources as starting point vehicles. A remarkable, important, and interesting task. That is the task and challenge. In the second part of my intervention, I am going to share with you what we are trying to do at the University of Bucharest in order to respond to this challenge. At the IQ, Social Sciences Division, that's the research component of our university, has set into motion an initiative with the objective of creating a Black Sea Area Study Center at the University of Bucharest. The center is aimed to be a research and public outreach platform dedicated to interdisciplinary research and policy relevant analysis of the Black Sea area developments by combining the strategic perspective with an analytical focus on the economic, political, cultural, demographic, military, environmental, and social development in the region. The objective is to create a regional, unique, university-based resource of public interest which builds on the solid interdisciplinary capabilities offered by the University of Bucharest with its specialists in geography, history, natural sciences, information sciences, foreign languages, economics, administrative and policy sciences, sociology, environmental sciences, military and strategic studies. Around this core competence offered by the University of Bucharest, the center will be mobilizing experts, resources, specialists, stakeholders, and capabilities from the civil society, from the business sector, from other relevant governmental organizations, and from other universities or research centers in the world and in the region. The program portfolio of the initiative would include research workshops, public conferences, informal colloquia, public outreach and networking, summer schools, training for the international organization and the private sector, consultation forums, and publication. The results would be twofold: a forum for stakeholders and a hub of organizations and individuals who are directly or indirectly interested in the development in the Black Sea area. In addition, the initiative will offer its members and stakeholders the possibility to have a voice and an organized presence in the public debate in relationship to those developments, either to react or contribute to shaping their dynamics. Last but not least, the initiative will have a strong international dimension, creating a regional hub able to extend communication and coordination lines both in the region and into larger economic and global settings. As member of CIVIS, a European civic university formed by an alliance of 8 leading research higher education institutions across Europe that brings together a community of more than 384,000 students and 55,000 staff members, including 30,000 academics and researchers, University of Bucharest will connect BSA and BSUN to the European academic network and to its African and Mediterranean partners. And vice versa, we will connect our European partners with their research and educational capabilities to the BSUN and BSA issues, challenges, and opportunities. We are ready to join forces with you, the other intellectual and academic centers in the region. We have created the instrument by which we could operationalize the constructive strategy of creating together a new image and the intellectual infrastructure of a region out of the BSA. We are ready to respond together with you to the challenge, to provide the vision, ideology, theory and empirical data, and intellectual and cultural resources for projecting BSA as an entity to the global level, both as an image and as a reality, to create out of diversity and cleavages and identity of opportunity, stability and cooperation using intellectual resources as starting point vehicles, to reimagine the region and prepare the intellectual seeds for its bright future. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Preda. Thank you for putting in a very high-level scientific framework all this issue of identity in the Black Sea region and cohesion in the Black Sea region, and also for giving us a very practical way of addressing it, like the case of a university as the University of Bucharest is now part also of a very important grouping of universities, of European universities, the CIVIS grouping. Thank you for all these, let's say, commitments and proposals for cooperation. Now we are continuing at the same, let's say, path, because we shall have the honor to have the speech of His Excellency Mr. Emil Constantinescu, the former president of Romania for the mandate 1996-2000. At the same time, a former rector of the University of Bucharest, a professor at the University of Bucharest, a member of the Romanian Academy. So a person who brings together the experiences coming from one side, the academic, whole life research and science activities, and the politics at the top level as a chief of state of Romania. And with all this said, Mr. Constantinescu, you have the microphone.
Thank you. Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to meet you, even though we still have to do it virtually. When I first saw the title of the conference, I was very glad for the opportunity to be able to speak about such a particular matter, which is of great importance nowadays. I refer to that as the context of our activities has been dramatically changed by the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has taken its toll on each field of activity and on each area of expertise. Also, the international community has been focusing its attention on the spread of the virus. It has nevertheless remained alert in regard to troubled areas, as is the case of Black Sea region. Despite the virus, the region has been fraught with geopolitical, economic, social, and military tensions. This is why focusing on building social cohesion of the Black Sea is highly necessary. And I congratulate the Black Sea University Network and the Parliamentary Assembly of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation for the initiative of this conference. And I congratulate the rector of my university, Marian Preda, for the initiative of launching a Black Sea Studies Center of the University of Bucharest, with whom we are looking forward to cooperating of many projects of joint interest. When discussing social cohesion, it is important to remember the immediate example of Eastern Europe after the fall of communism. It is here that social cohesion was built with a direct input from the academic milieu. The first Democrat president of Eastern Europe were all members of the academic milieu. Thus, they were able to approach state building in the same manner as an exercise, establishing the cause, focusing on the efforts, and devising the appropriate effort to create the intended results. Social cohesion is defined by the Council of Europe as the capacity of society to ensure the well-being of all its members, focusing on minimizing disparities and avoiding marginalization. It deals mainly with respect of human rights and freedoms, the building of democratic stability, and the provision for sustainable development in all fields of activity within the very society. And not even the world's most developed countries have come close yet to achieving this noble purpose, as the recent pandemic has powerfully shown. Yet it is nevertheless more critical and more difficult to be done in societies in which there are multiple ethnic groups, as is the case in many of the Black Sea countries. Economists will tell you that the social cohesion is built through strong economic policies. Human rights activists will tell you that one needs democracy and thorough respect and implementation of human rights to achieve social cohesion. Psychologists will claim that social policies and a focus on the quality of life is essential in reaching social cohesion. As an academic, we tell you the social cohesion can also be built through resort to cultural programs. The Institute for Advanced Study in Levant Culture and Civilization is currently running 3 projects that have the potential to contribute to the creation of social cohesion around the Black Sea. These projects are Dobroja, witness of the millennial civilization of the Levant, the cultural history of the Balkans, and the civilization of the lower Danube for prehistoric times into modernity. Based on their multidisciplinary approach, this project aimed to investigate the cultural roots that could explain current matters, such as the presence of multiple ethnic groups on a given territory, as is the case of Dobroja, the sense of community that exists between these groups, the tacit understanding and cooperation manifesting between them, and the cultural impact of this communion of peoples, customs, and traditions. Building social cohesion through culture means embracing one's social responsibility to promote dialogue and mutual respect. These are the most effective tools in creating connectedness and solidarity among groups in society, irrespective of their origin, ethnic background, and cultural differences. People need to belong. Cultivating the sense of belonging of a community and the relationship between the members of the respective communities reduce fractures within that very society, enhances the social balance and national identity. In order to achieve social development, people need to have an economic, political, social, cultural, and legal environment to work in and prosper. Fragmented societies are an enemy of social cohesion. As a result, one must use the example of tightly knit societies, highlight their cultural development, and establish long-term sustainable strategies that can strengthen social cohesion. As a university professor, I like to talk through examples. In the end of my speech, I would like to present you 2 examples of building social cohesion through cultural empowerment. The first is a book entitled Interculturality and Social Dialogue in Dobroja, that shall be published this autumn. Edited by the Institute for Advanced Studies in Labor Culture and Civilization, under the careful supervision of Dr. Florica Mihuț. The volume is a collection of essays and articles presented during the National Symposium Research on Dobrojan Multiculturalism, Development and Perspectives, organized by the Institute in partnership with the Ovidius University of Constanța and the Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency, TICA, in 2019 in Constanța. The second example is a short film made as a result of the virtual exhibition organized by the Institute within the ample framework of the project entitled Dobroja, Witness of the Millennial Civilization of the Levant. As you shall see, the exhibition is focused on the intercultural model existing in Dobroja, highlighting the particularity, productive intercultural and interfaith dialogue that exists within the 18 ethnic groups living there. I would like to end by thanking you for the opportunity to create a discussion on cultural projects that need to be more and more an integral part of the social cohesion, and I invite you all to enjoy our film.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for the very inspiring ideas regarding the way in which social cohesion might be addressed on behalf of the society, the contribution that the universities and education could have, and at the same time the practical aspects in which this institute, the Advanced Study Institute of Levant, is now doing, and it is a very substantial and dense type of activities and research works. So congratulations for all this contribution. And now it is my privilege to invite His Excellency Mr. Laszlo Borbeli, the State Councillor in the Romanian government and also former Minister for Environment. Mr. Borbeli in Romania is associated always with the sustainable development. So he is one of the, let's say, public persons who took this flag of sustainability, and he's doing an excellent job at the Department for Sustainable Development of the Romanian government. So, Mr. Borbeli, please, you have the microphone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Professor Mahmut. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure and a great honor to be here. I see so many friendly faces and good partners, and I hope that this cohesion, which is not social, just social cohesion, but cohesion between different personalities, will be a very strong network for the future of this area. So we are speaking about social cohesion, and would like to thank you also, PAPSEC and Black Sea University Network for inviting me. So it shows for us in the last couple of months how vulnerable we are, how vulnerable are our societies, not just the health system. And it's very interesting. It's very clear statistics about how different parts of the world respond to this pandemic. And for the first time, Asia, Asia and Pacific fight with very good results comparing with Western Europe countries and Americas. Why? Probably because they have some very bad experiences on the past, but also regarding how they could organize their societies, how disciplined they were in this period regarding the pandemic area. So we have to think a little bit for our future, how we could organize ourselves. And it depends also on citizens. It's very pity that we are not in Antalya to meet each other. And I have to tell you that I spent like tourist in Antalya 1 week. And I looked to this about 700 people in a hotel, yes, because it's possible in this moment, how they can organize themselves. And I have to tell you that it was brilliant, brilliant for me, and very good, impressive attitude of the citizens from Russia, from different parts, Romanians, from different parts of the world, how they can be responsible. So, first of all, we have to speak about citizens' responsibility, about institutional responsibility. And this is the moment to see how we can put together different institutions of the state to fight for a more sustainable society, how to implement the 2030 agenda. Because as you know, just we start in this week the 75th anniversary of UN, the General Assembly of UN, in a very different situation, yes, online. And we have to speak about how we could be and can be able to put this regional and global partnership. Because UN is responsible. Also other institutions are responsible. European Union has a very strong plan, yes? We have this Green Pact. We are discussing about this very ambitious plan. It's about 750 billion of euro for the next 7 years. It is a very important challenge for us. But how we put together different spaces, different parts of the world, not just European Union, but of this kind of partnership. So we have to look globally, regionally, nationally, and sub-regional. And you know, there are some parts of also social life, but of course linked to economic and environmental issues. First of all, we are speaking about education. It's one of the most important parts. Why? Because we need a good education of our children. Yes? Now, we started in Romania just 1 day ago, part online, part, mixed. It's a big, big challenge for our children. I have 4 grandchildren, and I saw how they are, a little bit another approach than 1 year ago or 2 years ago. We have to be very careful. We need the also physical meeting, the professors and of course the children. So regarding, and I come back to the institutional framework. And I'm very glad that there are here also members of PAPSEC, and it's very important. Political willingness is the most important issue. We have to have, because it's a consensus, yes, that we have to do more. How? How? With political willingness, with very good recovery, green recovery plans, and Romania in this moment has a very ambitious recovery plan until 2030, and is not accidentally. 2 months ago, we presented a recovery plan until 2030. And one of the operational program of the new era of European Union on the next financial exercise, it's the second operational program. It's for sustainable development. We are very active. Our department, as I told you in different meetings, we have a new strategy. In this moment, we have to discuss globally that 21 of the from 169 targets, they were not fulfilled in this moment, targets with deadline of 2020. What we are doing with these lines? We made just this Agenda 2030 to look it and to say, oh, how beautiful it is. We have more than 200 indicators. How we put together these indicators? How we will be able to offer to our societies which kind of organization is. That's why I have to tell you that we are in this moment regional hub, Romania, regarding the implementation of Agenda 2030. We are recognized. We have 2 projects with OECD, and we will be the only country from Europe, pilot country. We established with OECD, and we started 1 year ago just to UN, to have a global hub. We didn't know on that time that we will have this pandemic. But we will start with this global hub, and 5 countries in this moment are pilot countries from different parts of the world. One of them is Romania. We have a responsibility. In November, I have to announce you it's a premiere that I hope that we will be able to have regarding our presidency in BSEC, to have a meeting, online meeting, of course, unfortunately, with all the coordinators of these countries from Black Sea region. Why? Because I have to know who is the coordinator in different countries, in Turkey, in other countries from Black Sea area, Russia and other countries. So, in my opinion, the network is a very important moment in this moment, in this era. So, we have vulnerabilities. We have a new dimension, but we have to use digitalization. We have to use this digitalization not to have no meetings physically, but to give more information for the citizens, to have the possibility for all citizens how to have this possibility. We need indicators. In this moment, we have an interdepartmental committee led by the Prime Minister, was established last year. We have now, in a couple of weeks, we will establish a consultative council, and some people from also this area will be in this 35 very important academic area, chosen people who will work with us to an action plan until 2030, until the next year. We have just in 1 hour, I will have the first meeting with hubs. We have hubs. We have very engaged people in all the institutions of Romanian central government. We have to go to the local governments. We have to go to the local authorities. We will have a guide for the local authorities until November, how to prepare themselves for the next 7 years in European Union. So I hope that we convince you that we are very engaged, we are partners, we are catalyzers, and I will be very happy to enjoy other meetings and to share our experiences and to be partners in the future. Thank you very much. I wish you all good health and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you for this summary of the activities that Romania is doing. Of course, it is also the contribution of the whole community of researchers, scientists, experts in this field. But of course, it is also a result of your struggle to go further with these issues. So we congratulate you for what you did and what you are doing. Once again, thank you, and we hope we shall continue our collaboration.
Just a short comment, Mr. Professor. I would like to thank you again, and for those parts of academic area in which with those who meet each other, and we have a network also of universities and different parts, and you are one of our partners of Reduce University. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So now I would like just to draw your attention because you can see also the list of the participants, and you can see also some of the messages and chats. So we have in the audience very distinguished colleagues from the other universities. From Azerbaijan, for instance, we have colleagues from Turkey, the Vice Rector Arabajoglu from Mimar Sinan Fine Arts University. We have the colleagues from Varna, from Bulgaria, and Sofia. The colleagues, Professor Dokova from Varna Medical School, she is informing us about a very important event that they are organizing. We have colleagues, numerous group from Kiev and from Poltava, from Zaporozhye in Ukraine. Of course, our next event in November, it will be organized with the Polytechnic University of Zaporozhye, and we shall have a dedicated conference on Industry 4.0 dedicated to the very important event that this year this university is organizing. Besides of that, of course, we have many colleagues from the Romanian universities, and of course, I don't have time to pass over all these. Of course, we have also colleagues from different other universities. We have also some researchers in the fields and experts. So we shall have time during the discussions to offer the floor, because it was a question regarding the possibility to have some interventions. Yes, we shall have time for interventions in the discussion part. Now we are going towards to the other side, to the eastern side of the Black Sea, to the Caucasus, actually. In Georgia, Professor Sharvashidze, he is director of the Tbilisi State University, but he is also a personality with a very strong background in pedagogy, and he is the person who also could give us a perspective on how the universities could contribute to promoting social cohesion in our region. Professor Sharvashidze, you have the microphone. Thank you. Hello. Professor Sharvashidze, we don't hear you. Maybe something with your microphone? Now it's
Why
okay, I
don't-
think. Yeah.
Why don't you turn on his microphone? Then you should turn on his microphone as a host.
I did it. I did it. So can you say something, Professor Sharvashidze? No, unfortunately, it's something with the microphone there. Cum apare? So as a host, I have unmuted Professor Sharvashidze. So it has to be something on your computer. It should be maybe something that you have to check on the top of the screen. You have to see the settings for microphone. Maybe we now we shift now. We go further to a very important personality, His Excellence Ambassador Michael Michalis Christides. Actually, he is the Secretary General of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation Organization, the International Permanent Secretariat in Istanbul. But before all, Ambassador Christides, he is a diplomat with a long career, with a long experience, and he's at the same time, we may say, probably one of the best friends of the Black Sea Universities Network. So, Ambassador Christides, please, you have the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. I hope that you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I would like to add also my thanks and gratitude to the organizers for this very important event. I must tell you that as the Secretary General of the BSEC organization, we are very proud that two of the organizers are members of the wider BSEC family. And of course, I want to congratulate you, as others did before me, about this initiative and the selection of the item, the issue for discussion, social cohesion in the Black Sea, and perhaps social cohesion globally, not only in the Black Sea. As you all have heard, the previous distinguished speakers amply described why it is so important, the social cohesion, especially today with all the new problems that the pandemic has added to those already existing. I wish to clarify from the very beginning that although I represent a regional intergovernmental organization, perhaps the oldest and institutionally speaking, the most mature organization in the Black Sea region, my brief intervention will be purely on a personal basis. It is a personal contribution to this very important event. I believe that there can be no doubt that slowly yet continuously we have arrived at a situation where social cohesion, and not only in the Black Sea region, is unfortunately painfully absent. It has been 30 years since the fall of the Berlin Wall seemed to end the history of bipolarism. I'm sorry, of course, this is now the moment that my phone is ringing. So I was saying that it is almost 30 years since the fall of the Berlin Wall seemed to end the history of bipolarism, seemed to be liberating people and societies to enjoy life, to enjoy freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. Yet, how little did we know? Things did not turn out this way. Socioeconomic challenges, inequality, identity crisis, rapidly diminishing trust in government, all played their role, and we arrived to the situation we are today. And what is perhaps worse, all these elements gave way to a new breed of international leaders who erected new walls based on nationalism and petty populism, on intolerance and fear for the other. So severe issues that mankind has to address, like mass migration, be it legal or illegal, like climate change, like the never-ending economic inequality, led to even more divisions, if not outright conflict, not only among states, but also inside our societies. And of course, on top of that, the COVID-19 pandemic threw under a magnifying lens all the above serious issues that linger on for years. COVID-19 showed beyond any doubt the deep inequalities in our societies, the fractures and the conflicts, our deep and insurmountable divisions along ethnic, religious, and racial lines. Just think of the hate speech that has almost creeped also in the language used between states. Think of the open or hidden racism, of xenophobia, and all the ugly discrimination, especially against the weaker, the most vulnerable parts of our societies. And in our search for culprits on whom to blame the situation, many accuse globalization, others blame technology, yet others point their finger on trade, on migration, etc. For me, the three factors that have mainly contributed and facilitated the instability and lack of safety we all live in today are three. One, the evanescence, the disappearance, if you want, of responsible, mature leaders who can see and act beyond the challenges of their next re-election to power. Two, the ever-growing inequality of the distribution of the finite resources of our planet, a factor that goes hand in hand with the inexorable march of climate change and its dire consequences. And third, the double talk, the hypocrisy in the language used between states and internationally among the various parts of our societies also. Allow me not to dwell on these three factors. So, what can be done in order to find the necessary solutions, especially when the average citizen in our countries is disillusioned, is angry, and has no confidence or trust in his government? And again, what future do we want for our societies? And how do we get there? These are questions, dear friends, to which my answers are as good as yours. Allow me to indicate just a few ways that could perhaps change the way the river is flowing today. First, I believe that it is high time that we, the average citizen, undertake the responsibility to do something. Doing is the only remedy for our anxieties, our fears, and our disappointments. So we, you, the teachers, the scientists, the academics, the parliamentarians, we have to teach the people to take action. It might not always be successful, but it is the only way to raise a wall against the ugly tide of things that are going as they are going today. Two, we, you, the teachers, the scientists, the academics, the parliamentarians, we have to speak the truth in an unequivocal way. Speaking and disseminating the truth will only power about all that is needed to achieve some positive change. And third, let us follow the few examples that show beyond any doubt that there is way for greater social cohesion and for better relations among nations and states. Personally, I'm thinking of the Nordic example. The Nordic example has few but very solid basic components, most of which have been mentioned by the distinguished speakers before me. First, a welfare state with free and high quality education and healthcare. Also, a model of employment that combines flexible hiring and firing with strong social security. I'm sure you heard all about this model and its most celebrated components. Yet perhaps the one component we usually forget to mention is for me the most important. And it is the Nordic model's constructive nationalism. What does that mean? It means that nationalism, patriotism, if you want, centers on a commitment to a socio-economic model that fosters trust among citizens, among the private sector, and to the government, and incentivizes the individual to make contributions for the well-being of society at large. And I would like to end here. I'm sorry if I tired you with my complaints and concerns, yet I believe that social cohesion in the Black Sea and in our small globe is today a far too important issue to deal with it in a light or even frivolous way. It demands facing reality, it demands strong will, and a serious commitment to fight for its reestablishment in the sea, which unites us, it has been said, but also on our globe. Because allow me to repeat my first sentence, today, social cohesion is painfully absent. Thank you very much for your attention. And thanks again to the organizers of this excellent meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Outstanding ideas and outstanding speech. Very, very nice and fresh proposals. And of course, we all are looking and thinking that the Nordic model, it might be a model that could be followed. Unfortunately, it is a model that has been developed by the Nordic people. So we have to think to a model of and for the people of the Black Sea. And from that perspective, this is the role of the universities, of the researchers, of the scientists to look forward and to understand what kind of solutions are there, and then bridge this with the, let's say, politicians, with the experts, with the administrators in order to put it into life. And You know, it is a very important, how can I say, way of generating a new wave. And thank you for all your, let's say, proposals. I do consider that following the ideas that you mentioned, we could start building on something that, of course, maybe we shall not see the results immediately, but it will be something that will come over the years. And of course, we always come back to education. And from that perspective, I would like to come back to Professor Sharvashidze, the rector of the Tbilisi State University. And as I said, he is also an expert in the field of pedagogy and education, but giving us also the wisdom and flavor coming from the Caucasus side. Professor Sharvashidze, please.
Thank you. Can you hear me then?
Yes, now we can hear you very well.
Finally, we did it. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, dear friends and colleagues. I would like to pinpoint a couple of questions which already were discussed during this afternoon and very important ones. I think that social cohesion refers to a certain extent to connectedness and solidarity among different groups of people in society at first, and then it probably identifies two dimensions, very important ones, and one of them are sense of belonging to a certain group in a community, and second one would be relationship among the members of this particular group. That said, I would like to mention that many scholars, very respectful scholars, elaborated on this topic for many years, and among others, Ritzen and Rudiger and Spencer and others. And what we have now is an understanding of social cohesion as a system of democratic effort to establish a social balance and ensure economic dynamism. And also to talk about national identity, as my predecessor did here, in a way, and found a system of equality and sustaining impulse of uncontrolled economic growth and avoiding social fractures. Today, what we're having at our universities and in our region, as we mentioned, we have a wonderful region with a crossroad of beliefs, religious, ethnicities, civilizations, transit corridors, transport corridors, and all of it. But also we have very diverse situation in a way, and we're living now in new era. All of us, we found ourselves in pandemic. And so how pandemic is changing our behavior, how pandemic is changing the landscape of higher education, of social groups involved in education, and education as a tool to improve and assure equality and equity in society. That will be probably topics to be discussed at large. We as a university, of course, we're addressing those issues. We're organizing a series of seminars, webinars, online, of course, using WebEx or Zoom, etc., in order to really talk with our friends and colleagues cross-border. What would be our response to provide? What would be our next steps? Because here we're supposed thinking about that social fractures are still here because of a very different situation that we face now. I was talking for many years about mobility, and we have huge programs of mobility, students, professors moving around the globe, and we had this, all of it. Out of sudden, it will be different now, and I don't think that we'll have a little travel and movement of population in the world in years to come. At least we have to live with that, and that's a new phase of a situation that we're really facing. But together with negative aspects of COVID, also we have a positive aspect as well, because what we're witnessing now, all of us, it's an openness of educational systems. We had boundaries, and not all countries of the region were happy about distance education, about distance learning, etc. But now it became a part of our lives. And it means that a lot of legislative changes in the region were already in place in order to change this part of our education area. The second thing probably is open education resources and open science that is available. A lot of universities are opening up resources, including Tbilisi State University. Will open up our collection of electronic library of 12,000 books to everybody, not only our students, in order to have it in open access. Also, when we're talking about distance learning and distance education, we're talking also about collections that are available now for the students, and it's also positively influencing the situation in education sphere. One more thing that we probably should, and we're paying attention as a university in a very troubled region, is that we are working together, and here it was mentioned a couple times, the word solidarity. And probably social cohesion is about solidarity. And here our university students and professors and administration, last but not least, played quite a role in creating the spirit of solidarity and trying to overcome the issues connected with immediate move to distance learning, with closing up our research facilities, etc. Now we're slowly recovering, and we're having our plans how we can do it. But at first it was really painful, and because of solidarity of students, of professors, we did it. And secondly, including students at our university place, we did it as a kind of aid, especially the medical students of medical department, and using them in ethnically diverse environment, linguistically diverse environment, as an aid to doctors, to public health specialists, and that was again the role of university that was really important, a very interesting one. And thirdly, what we did so far, we are talking with our partners cross-border, and we're working on different issues, and those issues are connected with, again, with foreign students, with having foreign students at our university, with sending abroad our students, and that's a new reality that we're facing. But here as well, we can find a very positive examples how we can solve the problems and how we can really work as a region, as a bigger region, in order to solve problems that are occurring daily. Last but not least, I would like to mention that not only mobility was kind of in question, but also a lot of face-to-face contact that we had as a community, as specialists, as professors in different fields, no more conferences where we're all working online, as I see, and that's something as well that we have to learn again. And I believe that it will reflect on our daily practices in all our universities around this region. And lastly, I would like to mention that it was a very worthwhile exercise to, and thank you to organizers for this particular conference, that social cohesion is clearly and indeed one part that we have to pay attention, all of us, because probably it will be hindered by new circumstances and situation at large, and that's something we have to think about. It's not only economy, it's not only education, but also our feelings as a region, and we're a diverse region, will be different in a couple of months, I would imagine that. So thank you for inviting.
Thank you very much, Rector Sharvashidze. Very nice approach. Yes, we are here in this part of the world used to solve situation, to find out solutions, even in the very critical moments that it was this crisis. And of course, the access to technology, this might be a crucial incentive or a crucial step forward in addressing aspects related to education. Now, because we have a short break here, I would like to offer the possibility to some of the participants that would like to contribute. For instance, Mr. Rustamov, you wanted to make also a statement. We are in Georgia, so Azerbaijan is very close to Georgia. So let's see also a point of view from the Caucasus.
Thank you very much for invitation. To be honest, it is my first time participation, and I am very happy to be here among of my colleagues and being able to share my some of visions. Maybe it will be useful in our future activities. Not of that there is no any other way except integration for security, surveillance of security and peace in the region. How achieve it? What needed to be done for development of expected outcomes? We need to point out the right way for coming up results for the affirmative positions. And one of the main aspects is to integration in science, in education, in culture, in industry, and other aspects. For instance, Danube problem. It is not a problem of Danube covering just one country. It covers huge number of Eastern European countries as a natural disaster when happens the river flood. That's a main example, very good example, where we have to integrate and we have to be useful for each other. And definitely, from my point of view, Black City, just using this terminology, it limits some geographical, there is some geographical limitation. For instance, we have to use, from my point of view, a little bit comprehensive approach how to integrate other countries, for instance, Caspian region countries, into the process happens internally in Black Sea organization within the framework of your organization. There is one very good state association which was established in the United States almost 25 years by participation and signing of presidents of countries with participation of the president of the United States. We call it GUAM. GUAM is a Georgia, Ukraine, Azerbaijan, Moldova association. And in the constitution of this organization is written integration of capability and achievements of those countries for common solution of problems existing after collapse of the former Soviet Union. Later, Uzbekistan is also became a member of this organization. So 5 regional countries are together, working together, trying to do something interesting, something useful for keeping in condition of education, culture, science, and everything other issues as well. Maybe it will be very, from my point of view, it will be useful based on this association of those countries. It will be possible to integrate of capability of existence of such very political organization into the process which happens internally here, and being able to integrate not only the Black Sea countries as well as Caspian region into this association of countries. That's just idea I am sharing with you to use GUAM for enhancement and comprehensive approach of integration process for getting most important vital aspects of integration of science, education, and other necessary actions. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for giving me a chance to share my vision with my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rustamov. Yes, it is also very important to have the possibility to integrate different other initiatives of the region, like you mentioned, the GUAM initiative or the Eastern Partnership initiative, which is also a very important initiative. And at this level, at the political level, of course, there are many steps forward and there are many achievements. Ambassador Christides, he is developing a very intensive activity of, let's say, bridging and bringing together different political, let's say, associations, organizations, and so on. Recently, for instance, based on the political the dialogue between BISEC Permis and the Council of Europe, it was possible to have the Black Sea University Network to become a member of the network of universities on cultural roots. And this is a very important achievement because it's putting also the region of the Black Sea on the map of European cultural roots. And for sure, it's going to unlock very significant, let's say, parts of opportunities for us. So we have
it, Professor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, we have to give the right of the lion, you know, so of the Caesar. So yes, we have to mention that at the political level there are many steps forward. Unfortunately, what we are lacking is the bottom-up type of activities, the activities that have to be effective, the activities that are dealing with the activities peer-to-peer, people-to-people. So, of course, we shall have a presentation later on this issue. I would kindly ask you to accept to not take this break, but it's up to you. If you want to take it, we can make it. But from my point of view, I think we could invite Professor Manoledakis, the Dean of Faculty of Humanistics of the International Hellenic University in Thessaloniki, to present the, let's say, achievements and aspects that have been developed from the perspective of this prestigious, let's say, higher education institution in Greece. And then we shall end with the presentation of Mr. Antal. So then we shall have a little bit more time for discussions to come back to the ideas that have been proposed. So the Dean Manoledakis, please, you have the microphone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you can listen to me.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
So it is actually with great pleasure that I participate in this conference representing the International Hellenic University in Thessaloniki and our rector, Professor Athanasios Kaisis, who could not be here today. And I would like, first of all, to thank the organizing committee of this conference, the president, Professor Mitkas, the Secretary General, Professor Mahmoud, not only for the organization of the conference, but also and especially for the choice of this very insightful topic, this extraordinary topic today. And actually, almost everything has been pointed out until now by all the participants until now, and how could one disagree with any of what we have heard. What I would like to offer and contribute to our discussion and our event today is my personal experience at the International Hellenic University over the 10 years, and on how the academic community can indeed promote dialogue and mutual respect, which have been described as the main goals. So to prove that what we say is not just a wish, but it can be materialized as well. So I am talking about a specific postgraduate program that we have been offering at the International Hellenic University over the last 10 years, established in 2010 in the School of Humanities and called the Master of Arts in Black Sea Studies, which from 2016 was renamed Master of Arts in Black Sea and Eastern Mediterranean Studies. Back in this time, it was a very innovative program. We all know, and several of our contributors have already pointed out, that the Black Sea region, having such a special geophysical, cultural characteristics, is continuously, and we all know that, especially in the academic world, gaining significance as a crucial geopolitical link between Europe and Asia. And this is due to the important natural resources, the cultural position of this region at the hub of international routes, and all these have aroused the interest of many nations over the ages, leading to numerous events of great cultural and historical significance. And over the last few decades, especially after the end of the Cold War, research and other institutions all over the world have promoted dozens of research programs concentrating on this region with such rich scientific material. But there was not an equal penetration, I would remark, of the area and everything that concerns it into the university's programs. In this context, and having first thoroughly researched all the postgraduate programs available in Greece and elsewhere, the School of Humanities, now School of Humanities, Social and Economic Sciences of the International Hellenic University in Thessaloniki, created an English-speaking postgraduate program that was dedicated in this period of time, I'm talking about 2010, and still is, together with the Eastern Mediterranean, exclusively to our region of interest, as the very title indicates. Now, it is dedicated to the study of the Black Sea, approaching it in an interdisciplinary way. I mean that students are able to choose between two different streams. The one is related to antiquity, archaeology, ancient art, religions, mythology, and so on. The second stream is dedicated to modern history, politics, economy, international relations, human rights, mass migrations, minorities, and so on. So courses offered are all of them about all these crucial issues. Why did we do that? Because we saw that the study and interpretation of the historical and cultural data of the Black Sea area would provide the student, not the Greek student, the international student, with an outstanding opportunity to specialize in a research domain of such significance in our time, a significance that has already been demonstrated by the previous participants. So we aimed to provide our students with an excellent knowledge of the past, first of all, a comprehension of the present, and through this, too, the ability to estimate the future potentials of the Black Sea and of the Black Sea peoples. There's no need to say that cooperation with other university departments and research institutes in Greece, in Europe, and in other countries, and participation in EU programs have already taken place. And also within this frame, we have already organized many events, conferences, lectures, publications about both antiquity and contemporary situation, with each time with international contributors. Until now, I must say that this MA has been attended by students from more than 15 countries, all the Black Sea countries, especially from Romania, Turkey, Russia, Ukraine, but also countries that have nothing to do with the Black Sea, like the United States, Canada, Lithuania, Belgium, Chile, New Zealand, Malta, which is important for obvious reasons. Now, what is the personal experience that I would like to offer you? Being taught in English, this MA program attracted students from many countries and all the Black Sea, as I already said, from the very first year. So from the very first year, we had to have in the same classroom students from countries that had a kind of conflict with each other, usually political conflict, but not only. And at the beginning, we were really wondering how this was going to work, especially in the courses regarding modern politics. This is not a problem for art courses, but for international relations and modern politics courses, you understand that this could be a problem. This could turn out to be a problem. And actually, in the beginning of the semesters, the atmosphere in the class was indeed weird. I would say rather cold. So students from countries that were in conflict in a specific period of time usually sat very far from each other, did not speak with each other, and so on. But it was impressive to observe that as the courses were going on, this image was rapidly changing. And thus, at the end of the year, we could see, and this happened several times, not just one or two times, almost every year, we could see not only these students who did not speak to each other previously, sitting next to each other and having developed friendly relations, but also, in some cases, working on joint courseworks and submitting them successfully together. And I'm not talking about courses of mathematics or courses of banking or engineering or art, all of which are actually in the same language, one could say, all over the world, with minimum disagreements of political nature being able to arise. But I'm talking about courses on politics. And I'm not talking about students from countries without interest in the Black Sea area or in our wider Eastern Mediterranean area, but about students, for example, from Greece and Turkey, attending the same course on the early 20th century events, for example, in the Lausanne Treaty, in periods of tensions between Greece and Turkey. I'm talking about students from Russia and Georgia, just after the war between the two countries, attending together and participating in the same classroom courses on the post-Soviet history and on today's international relations. And I'm also talking about students from Russia and Ukraine who, during the Russia-Ukrainian War of 2014, were sitting together, attending together, and contributing together on courses talking about the Crimea, for example, which was something that both countries fought for, and its rich history from as early as the Greek colonization period. If this is not the best proof that university education can lead to dialogue and mutual respect, then what is? How can one achieve that? I don't mean that academics should achieve that by bypassing cases of gross violation of treaties or the human rights. After all, liberty of speech and expression is vital in the academic world, as we all know. But I believe that we achieve this by presenting facts, historical facts, as they really are. So as Ambassador Christidis previously said, by demonstrating the truth, by saying the truth. But I want to stress that education is indeed the best, if not the only, way to achieve what the organizing committee of this conference has described as the purpose of the conference, namely to secure the fundamental background for peace and prosperity in our region, which after all had always the luck and still has the luck to have hosted and to host so many different, important and mutually affected and interacting cultures, which in my opinion is one of its strongest privileges rather than disadvantages. This is what I would like to contribute today, and thank you very much again for inviting me in this extremely interesting and insightful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Manoledakis. And thank you for the very nice example on how the universities could contribute into this process. So I was talking a little bit earlier about that bottom-up approach. So by developing these kind of programs, either at the level of master degree or PhD, or even at the level of bachelor degree, by developing summer schools and bringing together students from different countries of the region, putting them to hear each other, to listen the experts in the field, and to have access to different types of information sources. This is one of the paths that have to be, let's say, followed for building trust between the communities and building trust between the people in the region. So thank you very much for this example. I hope that you will send us also some more information about this program, because as the BSUN IPS, we could also promote it via our channels to all the region, and this might be a very nice example. And also we are actually in the process of inviting different universities to organize a sort of a consortium of universities dealing with or addressing the subject of Black Sea studies. So from that perspective, it is a common interest.
Professor Mahmoud, can I please add one word?
Please.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for taking the microphone again, but I was really intrigued by the importance that Professor Manolidakis and yourself lay upon the youth, because really youth is our only hope. So there, I wanted to just say one word, that one of the initiatives for which we here in the BSEC Secretariat are most proud about is the annual workshop for young diplomats from all our member states. And there we have the example that was described by Professor Manolidakis. We have Russian young diplomats sitting next to Georgians, to Ukrainians, to Turks, to Serbs, and we are discussing, but also they are learning from distinguished academics, journalists, professors about the issues in the Black Sea region. And what is most important, they learn how to talk to each other, they mingle together, and they form, hopefully, most of the times, let me say, bonds that will last until they reach the stage when they will be the decision makers. So this is very, very important. Youth, we should work with youth. Thank you very much, and sorry for this intervention.
Thank you very much. Very important information. We knew about this initiative that you are developing, but of course it is good to mention it and to promote it. It is a way, maybe in different other fields, they might be replicated. So now it is also a privilege to invite Mr. Antal. He is the member of the Romanian Parliament and the member of the Romanian delegation to the Parliamentary Assembly of the Black Sea Cooperation. Mr. Antal, you have the microphone.
Mulțumesc, domnul profesor Mahmoud. Aș dori să mă asigur că se aude bine.
Da, se aude foarte bine.
Da, mulțumesc. Domnule președinte, doamnelor și domnilor, având șansa de a trăi aproape 10 ani în județul Constanța, județ situat în partea de sud-est a României, unde locuiesc împreună 18 minorități etnice, unele dintre ele cu tradiții multimilenare pe aceste meleaguri, am constatat faptul că printre reprezentanții acestor comunități există multe probleme care vor trebui rezolvate.
So I shall make the translation. So, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, having the chance to live among almost 10 years in the Constanța County, located in the southeast part of Romania, where are living together 18 ethnic minorities, some of them with multi-millennial traditions on these lands, I have witnessed that among the representatives of these communities, there are several problems that have to be solved.
Poate principala problemă este procesul de asimilare cu care se confruntă aceste comunități. Limbile materne sunt din ce în ce mai puțin folosite chiar și în familiile lor, educația în limba lor maternă este aproape inexistentă sau nu este în conformitate cu unele standarde minime.
Maybe the main one is the process of assimilation that such communities are confronted. The mother tongue languages are less and less used, even in their families. The education in their mother tongue is almost inexistent, or it is not in compliance with some minimal standards.
Chiar dacă majoritatea acestor comunități se organizează cu unele grupuri de muzică populară și dansuri populare, acestea nu sunt suficiente pentru a-și păstra identitățile culturale.
Even if most of such communities have some groups of folk music and popular dances, these are not enough to preserve their cultural identities.
Nu pot să trec cu vederea responsabilitatea în acest sens al poporului majoritar.
In such a context, I have to mention the responsibility of the majority community on the above mentioned aspects.
Opinia mea este că majoritatea ar trebui să înțeleagă faptul că aceste culturi multiple fac o țară mai bogată și pentru păstrarea unei asemenea bogății, comunitățile minoritare trebuie să aibă anumite drepturi specifice.
In my opinion, the basic aspect is that the majority has to understand that multicultures makes a country richer, and for preserving such richness, the minority communities have to have some rights.
Acordând astfel de drepturi, nu se ia nimic de la reprezentanții comunității majoritate. Regiunea nu va fi mai săracă și, dimpotrivă, va fi mult mai bogată.
By granting such rights, it is not taking anything from the representatives of the majority community. The region shall not be a poor one, and by contrary, it shall be wealthy. Vă rog.
Hotărârile cu privire la viața lor trebuie luată în sânul comunităților, iar majoritatea nu trebuie să hotărească în locul lor.
The decisions related to their community lives have to be taken in the core of the communities, and the majority community should not take decisions in their place.
Pe de altă parte, bineînțeles, comunitățile minoritare trebuie să se integreze în viața generală.
On the other side, the minority communities have to integrate themselves in the general life.
Este important a nu se confunda noțiunea de integrare cu asimilarea.
But integration means not assimilation.
Din anul 2016, în calitate de membru al Parlamentului României, reprezentând Uniunea Democrată Maghiarilor din România, am avut și șansa de a participa la delegația Parlamentului României la organizația PAPSE.
Since 2016, as a member of the Romanian Parliament, representing the Democratic Union of the Hungarians from Romania, I had also the chance to take part in the delegation of the Romanian Parliament to PAPSE.
Pentru mine a fost o experiență unică să particip la activitățile acestei organizații din întreaga regiune și am aflat despre diversitatea culturală și bogăția regiunii noastre de la Balcanii de Vest până la Marea Caspică și mai departe până în Orientul îndepărtat.
For me, it has been a unique experience to take part to the PubSec activities in the whole region, and I have learned about the cultural diversity and richness of our region, from the Western Balkans to the Caspian Sea and further to the Far East.
Printre activitățile foarte diferite, aș putea menționa o colaborarea cu rețeaua de universități din Marea Neagră, cu care a fost o colaborare foarte specială a mea, deoarece, dintr-o parte, Secretariatul Permanent Internațional este situat în județul Constanța, pe care eu îl reprezint cu mândrie în Parlamentul României.
Among the very different activities, the collaboration with the Black Sea Universities Network was a very special one because, from one side, the International Permanent Secretariat is located in the Constanța County that I proudly represent in the Parliament.
Din cealaltă parte, făcând cunoștință despre activitățile BCUNI și despre relația foarte specială între BCUNI și PubSec, am remarcat o oportunitate imensă de a dezvolta în continuare această cooperare.
On the other side, getting acquainted about the activities of the BSUN and about the very special relation between BSUN and PubSec, I have seen a huge opportunity to further develop this cooperation.
Într-un astfel de context, împreună cu doamna Roberta Anastase, șefa delegației noastre și echipa BCUNI IPC, am identificat diferite domenii de colaborare, dar zona de coeziune socială a fost departe prima opțiune.
In such a context, together with Mrs. Roberta Anastase, the head of our delegation, and the BSUN IPS team, we have identified different areas of collaboration, but the area of social cohesion was by far the first option.
În anul 2017 s-a început cu atelierul cu denumirea Situația actuală și perspectivele în domeniul politicilor care se adresează minorităților naționale din regiunea Mării Negre. Acest eveniment, organizat de către rețeaua universităților din Marea Neagră, în colaborare cu delegația Parlamentului României la adunarea parlamentară a cooperării economice a Mării Negre, adică PubSec, în formatul unei dezbateri deschise cu participare internațională.
In 2017, we have started with the workshop on the current status and perspectives in the field of policies addressing the national minorities in the Black Sea region that was organized by BSUN in collaboration with the Romanian delegation to PubSec in the format of an open debate with international participation.
Evenimentul a fost motivat de evoluțiile care au avut loc în ultimii ani în mai multe țări din Europa și din zonele învecinate, implicând anumite minorități etnice pe probleme legate de drepturile și libertățile lor.
The event was motivated by the evolutions that took place in recent years in several countries in Europe and neighboring areas involving certain ethnic minorities on issues related to their rights and liberties.
Complexitatea problemelor geopolitice la scară europeană și regională a amplificat efectele acestor acțiuni și este adesea îndreptată spre confruntări, revendicări sau conflicte deschise.
The complexity of the geopolitical issues at the European and regional scales amplified the effects of these actions, and it is often directed towards confrontations, claims, and even open conflicts.
Situația conflictului dintre Ucraina și Rusia, care amplifică confruntarea chiar și la nivelul drepturilor și libertăților minorităților naționale din aceste țări, disputa din regiunea Caucaz între comunitățile din Armenia, Azerbaijan, Osetia, Abhazia și Georgia, evoluțiile din Orientul Mijlociu, conflictele latente din Balcani Disputele dintre Marea Britanie, Scoția și Irlanda, precum și în Catalonia, evidențiază intensificarea confruntărilor dintre minoritățile etnice versus majorități și ecourile acestora atât la scara continentului cât și în diferitele regiuni.
The situation of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, it amplifies the confrontation even at the level of rights and liberties of the national minorities from these countries. The dispute in the Caucasus region between the communities from Armenia, Azerbaijan, Ossetia, Abkhazia, and Georgia, the developments in the Middle East, latent conflicts in the Balkans, the disputes between UK, Scotland, and Ireland, as well as in Catalonia, highlight the intensification of confrontations between the ethnic minorities versus majorities and their echoes both at the scale of the continent and in the various regions.
Participanții la evenimentul din anul 2017 au fost de acord că, din punct de vedere conceptual, este necesar un efort considerabil, atât din partea comunității științifice, a experților, a societății civile, cât și a instituțiilor legislative, executive și altor instituții ale statului de drept pentru dezvoltarea unei abordări sistemice a problemelor legate de administrarea drepturilor și libertăților minorităților naționale, a relațiilor dintre minoritate și majoritate.
The participants to the event in 2017 have agreed that from a conceptual point of view, considerable effort is needed both from the scientific community, experts, civil society, as well as from the legislative, executive, and other institutions of the rule of law for developing a systemic approach to the problems related to the administration of the rights and liberties of the national minorities, of the relationship between minority and majority.
De asemenea, am avut șansa de a pune un accent deosebit pe situația actuală din regiunea Dobrogea a României, reprezentând experiența existentă de cooperare între minoritățile din țară.
We had also the chance during that event to put an emphasis on the situation in the Dobrogea region of Romania by presenting the existing experience of cooperation between the minorities.
După atelier am continuat această activitate cu primarul comunei Cumpăna din județul Constanța, doamna Mariana Gâju. În acest sens am pregătit o vizită a delegației din această comună din Constanța în județele Covasna și Harghita pentru a întâlni comunitățile din diferite comune și pentru a evalua experiența existentă în protejarea rețetelor culinare locale de tradițiile zonei și organizarea unor astfel de activități în ceea ce privește facilitățile și managementul.
After the workshop, I have continued this activity with the mayor of the Cumpăra commune, Mrs. Mariana Gâju, and in this respect, we have prepared the visit of the delegation from the Cumpăra commune in Constanța to the counties of Covasna and Harghita to meet the communities of different communes and to evaluate the existing experience in protecting local recipes of traditional cuisine and organizing such activities in terms of facilities and management.
După multe eforturi, suntem acum în măsură să vă informăm că modelul de organizare a comunităților locale din județele Covasna și Harghita pentru a sprijini familiile mici, pentru a-și promova capacitatea de a pregăti mâncarea tradițională, a fost reprodusă în comuna Cumpăna. Cu sprijinul doamnei primar Mariana Gâju a fost înființată o asociație, i s-a alocat o clădire și este în faza finală de înființare a unei bucătării a comunei, în care reprezentanții minorităților etnice din comună va avea posibilitatea să pregătească preparate culinare tradiționale și să le comercializeze în restaurantele de pe coasta Mării Negre.
After many efforts, we are now in the position to inform you that the model of organizing the local communities from the Covasna and Harghita counties to support small families to promote their capacity to prepare traditional food has been replicated in the Cuncona commune. With the support of Mrs. Mayor Mariana Gâju, it has been registered an association. It has been allocated a building, and it is in the final phase of setting up a kitchen of the commune that shall be the facility where all representatives of the ethnic minorities from the commune will be allowed to come and prepare the traditional dishes and to sell them in the restaurants from the Black Sea coast.
La final, acest gen de inițiative sunt elementele de bază ale coeziunii sociale.
At the end, these kind of initiatives are the effective building blocks of the social cohesion.
Deci, mesajul meu este că problema coeziunii sociale este un subiect foarte important atât pentru politicieni, pentru oamenii de știință, dar trebuie implementat cu oameni și pentru oameni.
So my message is that the problem of social cohesion, it is a very important subject for the politicians, for the scientists, but it has to be implemented with people, for the people.
Acesta este un proces care necesită doritori cu disponibilitate, iar intențiile trebuie să fie susținute de specialiști pentru a pune toate conceptele și cunoștințele în acțiuni tangibile și cu rezultate tangibile.
And this is a process that requires motivated people with initiative and willingness that have to be supported by experts to put all concepts and knowledge in tangible actions with tangible results.
Eu mulțumesc în mod deosebit domnului profesor Mahmut Eden pentru onoarea de a putea participa la acest eveniment. De asemenea, mulțumesc pentru ajutorul la translație.
So, thank you for the participation and for translating to English this speech.
Vă mulțumesc pentru atenție.
Thank you for your attention. So, we are at the end of a long list of distinguished and outstanding speakers. And now we are opening the space for discussions. So we have to start mentioning that we had the very unique chance of having together two very important communities. So from one side, the academic community, the rectors of universities, deans of schools, professors from different fields related to social cohesion aspects, but also researchers. And on the other side, we had the chance of having the politicians, the diplomats, the people that are looking to these issues from the perspective of a macro level, and to find out how these things could be implemented. So we are witnessing also two groups with two different ways of thinking. The academic community is a community where the debate has to be there, because the fundamental principle of the academic community is dubito ergo sum. So we have to generate debates, we have to present some of our ideas, and we have to facilitate the free dialogue. On the other side, we have the political, let's say, sphere, where for a politician, it is important to listen the crowd, to win the crowd, and to reach consensus in order to show some directions for governance. So from that perspective, I think we have the two faces of the coin. And there are some very nice proposals that have been advanced during the speeches. So now I would like to kindly invite to comment on them and to come with some possible conclusions that we have to draw at the end of this event. So who would like to take the speech, the microphone? Maybe I will start with the Rector Preda. Yes, it's open.
Yes, it's open now. I don't know exactly what do you expect from me. I mean, for me, it has been a very interesting challenge to listen to so many decision makers and academics. And it is extremely important for me as director of the university to pick up challenges, to pick up solutions and experiences of the others, and to do something on medium and long term, because I think as I in a way suggested in my previous speech, there have been too many words, too many promises, and not too many actions and results in the region. So as a management person, I am interested in results, not in declared objectives and aims. So that's why I promise that in a few years, when we'll probably meet together, and of course, in the meantime, we'll meet several times, and we'll discuss about Black Sea area. We'll have many things to put on the table as results, not only as promises. So that's the main objective of my mandate as director of the university, a university that has been and will continue to be and to play a significant role in the Black Sea universities network. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll continue to stay with you and listen to your questions. And then if there will be something to be added, I'll continue again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I would like to go further to Mr. Hagiev. So, Your Excellency, now you have a different view. You have seen the whole picture. What kind of conclusions do you think that we have to come out?
Much. Just. Oh, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me again floor. First of all, I'd like to express my deep gratitude to all speakers for very interesting interventions, and of course for organizer, particularly to Professor Mahmoud Eden for organizing this important yet interesting meeting and invited a lot of people. And it's nice that all speakers accepted your invitation, because the title of the conference, I think, was very, very important and very interesting. As a conclusion, I think I have some idea. Maybe you'll give some opportunity to all participants to prepare in writing form their vision about conclusion, what we can propose, what will be interesting, which plan we have for future. And it would be my vision that much more interesting, because to make conclusion, it was different interesting ideas, and it is difficult to combine it immediately. So if you give some opportunity, with pleasure, we'll send you our proposals and idea. Once again, thank you very much for all speakers and for you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hagiev. Thank you for all your support in organizing this and for your participation of your very precious time. So yes, we are opening now this invitation. So please send to us your opinions. And also, if as a result of these, let's say, discussions and debates, we are opening also the call for papers. So you know that the Black Sea University Network is publishing the so-called international journal Letters from the Black Sea. And in our international journal, we would like to accommodate your contributions, your position papers, your results, and your proposals. So please let us know if you are interested to contribute to the next issue of this journal, which is going to be a special issue dedicated to this subject on social cohesion. So now, with your permission, I am opening the possibility to everybody to contribute. So if somebody would like to join and say a few words, please just let me know, and we shall offer you this possibility. Okay, Mr. Rustamov.
Thank you very much once again. It has been mentioned here by a colleague how to create appropriate environment, right environment, being able to start to do something and to put on the table some real implementation. That's good approach. From my point of view, maybe I am not so correct from the political issue, or maybe construction and constitution of the organization has some limitations. But in any case, there is a fundamental principles how to manage situation in the right way. I think development of working team could be very useful integration of efforts in some area. For instance, modern integration of efforts is to establish, for instance, center of excellence. It's a research and development. Our team is integrated from different industry, education, science, industry, politicians. Maybe if there is an opportunity, availability to set up, for instance, some excellence, center of excellence, research and development center, for creating some environment, integration, all efforts into this center could be useful, helpful, at least to start to do something within the framework of some project, for instance. Maybe this is one of the ways of the reality and implementation of our efforts in the future. Just some idea, and I'm just sharing, maybe to set up some internal structure center or the center of excellence for research and development. Doesn't matter from which area it will be start. Space technology, high technology, information technology, social science, doesn't matter. Maybe just make something to start from some point and to enhance step by step of capability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rustamov. Yes, we already have these kind of centers, so we can get in contact and we could indicate the partner universities in Azerbaijan, for instance, to whom you may address. And further, as I said, also we have the possibilities to publish the results of such a research project. So, any other opinion, please?
Yeah. I'm sorry, once again, I'm asking for floor. Some short proposal, but it would be very nice if you sent us all intervention which have been presented in this conference, because, but it was quite interesting, and it's a good idea to publish, all presentation in some book. It will be some good example for other conferences, and also it will be useful for using to all participants. It's my idea to send all intervention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, you have to know that the whole conference works are recorded, so you can watch these records on the website of the BSUN. First of all, this is available. But then, as I said, we shall have also, with the permission of the lecturers, they will send us their presentations and we shall upload them as PDF files on the website of the conference. And finally, as I said, we are opening the invitation for publication. So to put all together, as Mr. Hagiev was mentioning, and to prepare this issue of the journal. Now, for closure, I invite Professor Mitkas, the president of the Black Sea University Network.
Hello again. Once more, grateful thanks to all the participants and the speakers. It was the first day of very useful ideas and exchange of ideas and presentations, and the discussion that followed. Again, it would have been much more productive to be in person in a room and follow the discussions as we usually do at lunch or over a cup of coffee. But the fact that we continue to get together is very hopeful. It gives us all a sense of optimism that we will get through this. The region is not always quiet. There's always something going on. There's a political situation here or there, and it's always a good idea to have the academicians and politicians exchanging ideas. We will continue tomorrow with an equally interesting set of presentations, and I invite you all to be with us. And I wish you a nice afternoon. Okay, see you hopefully tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Mitkas. So tomorrow we have some very interesting presentations coming on behalf of Dr. Ursula Wawrik, for instance. She's from Austria, from the Center for Sustainable Development. We have colleagues from Ukraine, from Romania. So we shall have quite a very interesting, let's say, set of presentations. And the end, we shall have this discussion. So thank you very much. Thank you all for being with us. And let us see tomorrow at the same time, 10 o'clock. You have the link. And in this way, we can continue the activity. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Sì.